All right, hello everybody and welcome. My name is Anthony and I am the game development slash programming slash coding instructor here at Esports Players Club, and I am excited to bring you a brand new course outlining Unreal Engine for Fortnite Creative. For those of you who don't know, I created an entire course kind of outlining Unreal Engine 5, and I outlined a lot of that. I still plan and go back to that and add some things, but I decided to create a small little course here on Unreal Engine Fortnite Creative because we find obviously we're an esports place, so anytime we can integrate the gameplay side of things with what we're doing on the game development side of things is always a good thing. And there are some very key differences between Unreal Engine 5, the normal version, and Unreal Engine Fortnite Creative. And some of this stuff will be the same, but some of this stuff will be completely new. So I suggest you watch the whole video, and thank you so much for watching. So let's go ahead and get started here. To get into Unreal Engine Fortnite Creative, first you're going to need to download the Epic Games Launcher and create an account. If you don't know how to do that, we'll probably create a video on how to do that, but it's not super hard. You just gotta log into Epic Games Launcher, create an account, or log into an account you've already created, and then you should pretty much be ready to go. You're then gonna go to the store and download what is called the Unreal Editor for Fortnite. I already have it downloaded, but you would just go to the store and find Unreal Editor for Fortnite. You would click Get. You would purchase it just like a normal application or game from Epic Games Store, and then it should be now in your library. As well as that, just make sure you have the latest version of Fortnite also downloaded on your local machine. And then to start the Unreal Editor for Fortnite, simply just click on it, and it's going to go ahead and load up. Now, some of the cool things that come with Unreal Engine for Fortnite that is a little bit different than Unreal Engine 5, and probably the best thing I think about it, is source control. Unreal Engine for Fortnite already has a pre-built in source control system, so you don't need to back anything up to Google Drive or use Perforce or use Get or all the other SCR stuff that's out there, the software's out there. Unreal Engine already has that for you. Another new thing for the Unreal Editor for Fortnite is they have a new language you have to learn called Verse, and we will be talking a lot about Verse throughout this series, but it's the new language. It's kind of like C# and Python had a baby. There's a lot of access modifiers and keywords that are very unique to like C++ and C#. They're used a lot in like those kind of languages, or like Java, for example, especially the access modifiers. But the system is indentation based, like Python. So we're going to be learning Verse together, which will be a lot of fun. Short for Metaverse, I guess that's going to be the language of the Metaverse. But yeah, that will be a lot of fun. And then there's also some things that are very similar, as we'll see as we get going here as well. Also, I also recommend for this course, you go to Google and you download Visual Studio Code. That's going to be where we're coding. So to download that, you're just going to type in VISUAL Studio Code. And this is where we're going to be doing a lot of our code stuff. So you would just click download and then just make sure that you have it downloaded Windows 10 or for Linux or for Mac or for whatever your system is. But make sure you have this code editor downloaded. We will be using that as well throughout this course. Okay, so that's just the preliminaries. Let's go ahead and get started. So to create a brand new template here, I'm just going to go ahead and click the blank template, and we're going to call this tutorial 1 and click create. And something like this will pop up on your screen. It's going to go ahead and create the project, and then it's going to open the project. For now, especially in your first time in the engine, I really don't recommend going with the templates. Let's just stick with the blank one for now, because a lot of the templates have already been pre-designed with a whole bunch of custom stuff in it and may be hard to use when you get started. So I really recommend that you use the blank template to get started here. Now, before we jump right in and talk about all the things with UEFN, which is Unreal Editor for Fortnite, just in case you didn't know what that acronym stands for, I may be using it quite a bit. UEFN is very object-oriented, but a lot of the game management and functionality is included in devices. And this is something that's pretty different from other game engines. Most of the time, like for example, Roblox Studio, we had a service inside of Unreal Engine 5. You generally had to make the device or the game logic using blueprints, right? And then, you know, have like a class, like a character class, and then you'd put like the logic for the character class in the controller, and then you'd have to assign the character to the controller and stuff like that. UEFN already has a whole bunch of devices that pretty much manage game logic and functionality for you, and you just have to customize the properties and the events of those devices in order to build your game. This is primarily due, I think, because Unreal Editor for Fortnite was created based on Fortnite Creative 1.0, which kind of had all of these devices set up. And now they just gave you a lot more functionality, but they also gave you the ability to make your own devices. But that's something that's very important. I just wanted to say kind of off the bat here before we get started, because it's kind of important. Okay, to get started here, the most important device inside of Unreal Editor for Fortnite is one of the most important, is going to be your spawn pad. And this essentially right here is where your player is going to spawn. And as you'll see here, the controls for Unreal Editor for Fortnite are pretty similar to most game engines. I'm going to right click on my mouse just like so, and use the W, S, A, and D key to move forwards, backwards, left and right. E will go up, Q will go down. To rotate your camera, you're going to hold right click and simply move your mouse, just like so. If you want to slow down or speed up your camera speed, again, you will hold the right mouse button and then scroll your mouse wheel. If you scroll it forwards, as you can see in the corner here, my speed goes really fast. And if I scroll it backwards, as you'll see again in the corner here, it slows way down. So this is just the basic interface for just moving around and manipulating everything inside of your viewport. This massive screen here that displays my level is what we would call the viewport, by the way. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of a tour of what all the stuff that's going on here is. Now, to get your window to look like this, if it doesn't look like this, what you're going to do is you're going to click Window, and then you're going to go to Load Layout, and then you would do Default Editor Layout. And essentially that's going to load it so it looks just like this. Some people do like the UE4 classic layouts. If you want to do that, that's totally fine. We're just going to use the default layout for now. You can also import your own layouts as well. Okay. If none of these windows are still not showing up, you can always click and find the window that you're looking for here and just make sure it's checkmarked, and then that will also allow this to display as well. Okay. All right. So up here, we're going to have the ability to save our project. Obviously, we have our file, access to our verse code. We'll come back to this later. Here is going to open up our ability for the content drawer, which we'll talk about in a second. Where you change modes is right here. Project settings and publishing the project and creator portal, that's all going to be right here. Fab is going to be like your asset store for the Unreal Editor, so this is your asset store. This is where you can create basic shapes and actors, very similar to Unreal Engine 5. Verse is where you would open up your verse code. So we'll talk more about that later, but this is where you would open up verse code if you wanted to custom code a specific device or game logic. Launch session is going to launch a Fortnite Creative 1.0 session. We'll talk about this in this video, but in a second, okay? Everything that's in your level is over here in the Outliner tab. And then all the properties that make up anything you have selected, for example, this grid, all the properties are over here down in your details panel, as well as a list of the actor and then the components that make up that given actor. Okay, so if I wanted to change the material, for example, I would click on this, and I could change the material to, I guess, this barrier, for example. Okay, to move things around, you're going to use, again, your select, your move, your rotate, and your scale tools, which are located in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. You also have the ability to enable snapping for movement, enable snapping for rotation, and enable snapping for scaling. Okay, now, everything that exists inside of your level will be over here in the Outliner tab, but everything that exists inside of your application will be in the content drawer. So to open up the content drawer, you can simply click content drawer, and this will open up. You are then able to dock this in your layout just like so if you want to, or you can just open it up by holding Control and Space and then click Control and Space to close it. Either one is acceptable. This has everything that exists inside of your level, but it also has pretty much everything that exists inside of Fortnite. So as you can see here, all the consumables are here, so if you wanted to add that kind of stuff. Environments are here. Inside of prefabs, you have all the structures that were used to make all the various POIs inside of Fortnite. So like, for example, Anarchy Acres, I could drop the silo out, right? All that stuff is going to be here inside of your content drawer, right? Very similar to Unreal Engine 5, this contains all the assets for your application and or project. And as well, if you wanted to make new stuff, you would do it in here as well. Everything here is organized inside of folders. Don't think we need to get too much into that. Now, let's go ahead and get to something that is different about Unreal Engine 5, or excuse me, different about UEFN, versus Unreal Engine 5, and that is the source control. And I kind of mentioned that earlier in the video because that's really, really important. So let's talk about source control. Source control is how you can manage your project over time and work on it on multiple different machines or devices, right? So let's say I created a project on this computer and I wanted to go home and work on the same project. Source control is what allows me to do that, right? Source control is like backing it up to like the cloud, for example. Technically it's not that, but also technically it is. But it's very similar to that, right? Now, what makes Unreal Editor for Fortnite so nice is that source control is already built into the editor. All you have to do is come down here, and as you can see, I already have some source control set up. If I did want to change it from the Unreal Revisions control, this is where I would do it, but you generally don't have to. So let's say I moved this, and I wanted to save this change to my project, or like finalize that change. I would simply click Save here. I would save selected. And then I'm going to have to check in that change. So saving it just saves it on this computer. It does not back it up to the cloud. It just saves it on this computer. When I click check in changes, that's what's actually going to check in the changes so that it saves to the cloud. Now, whenever you do this, you want to make sure you describe the change, right? So in this case, I moved grid plane actor and changed its size. And then I would click submit. If you wanted to continue to work with this, you could leave the file checked out. This is something more for if you're working on a team, but for right now, just click submit. And then that's how you save your thing so that way you can work on it on multiple different machines. Now this has been backed up to the cloud, and if I sync a different computer to this project, it will save all my changes. This is also how you work with other people on a project. So like if I'm working on something and I have somebody else working on the same project, this is how you would save it across multiple different machines. Okay? All right. Last thing here is we're just going to talk about this launch session. So to launch your session, you're simply just going to click launch session, and this is going to generate a Fortnite session. Now, one of the really, really, really cool things about Unreal Editor for Fortnite is you can design things inside of Fortnite 1.0, and in real time, they will update to the Unreal Editor for Fortnite. This is something that, honestly, I really have to hand it to you, Epic Games software engineers. It's really, really, really impressive. It's pretty impressive that you were able to pull this off. But what does that mean? That means that if you are a guru inside of Fortnite Creative 1.0, you can take all of those skills and apply them immediately to Fortnite Creative 2.0, which is one of the coolest things that I think I've seen in a while. So as you can see, a new instance of Fortnite is now launching on my local machine, and we'll just give it a second to connect to the session. Now, a couple things are going to happen up here. First off, whenever you create a session, do not close the session. Do not click this until you are all done editing your session, okay? Whenever you make a change in here, like let's say I added landscape and whatnot, sometimes you will not see that change inside of your session, right? So if you want to see that change inside of your session, you'll have to click the push changes button. As you can see, it just popped up here. You would have to push those changes here, okay? So that's where you would push the changes, so that way any change you make here that's really, really big or drastic updates to your session. And then as you can see here, my session is loading up. As you can see, it's starting my game, and then here is my Fortnite session. Where I guess, did this guy not find his walk button? This isn't my accounts. But anyways, this is my Fortnite session. I guess this guy didn't find his walk button, whoever was using this account last. But anyways, as you can see, this is the game here, and then this is the actual session. Now, what's really, really cool is that when I make edits inside of here, and you'll see this in a second. Maybe my keyboard's just not working. There we go. No. No, I don't think he binded anything. Oh my goodness. Wow. I don't know how that happened. All right, there we go. Now I can move around. Okay, so as you can see here, when I make edits here, like let's say I come in here and I grab this mega city tower, right? And I put this 2 and then I place this here. As you'll see, when I go back into my Unreal Editor session by holding Alt and clicking Tab to change windows, it added that here. And again, not only did it add that, but it also added some of the builds as well. As you can see, I have the build here that I accidentally placed, right? But some of the builds are made here, and this is one of the really cool things is I can be inside the editor here, and I can, copy things. Like let's say I want to copy this sign and place this sign here and sign here and sign here, or whatever have you, right? It could be whatever you want. But the idea is that that then applies and is created here. Vice versa, most of the time when I create things here, they are also going to translate into my session. Most of the time. Now, sometimes you'll have to push the changes if it's something bigger, but a lot of the time you'll create something here and it will update into your session. And that's another really, really cool feature that exists inside of this, is that you can do stuff like that, right? So now I'll come back in here. Oh, excuse me, this one I'd have to push the changes. There we go. And then after I push the changes, it will add that, right? So the way this works is generally it will stage and upload, as you can see in the upper left-hand corner there, and then it will add whatever changes you made here, right? And as you can see, it's updating the session. But that's pretty much it here for the basics of the Unreal Editor for Fortnite. In the next video, I'll probably showcase how you can make your very own only up game using the Unreal Editor for Fortnite. So as always here, I'll let this go ahead and finish preparing and updating so you can see that cube. But this has been Coach Anthony with the Esports Players Club, showing you the basics of Unreal Engine Fortnite. Please let us know if you have any questions in the comment. And of course, as always, please like and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. I'll go ahead and just let the video run now, probably speed it up at this point, and show you what it looks like when this cube is actually here.